So this was a very exciting chapter. Picking up from the end of the previous one, Okotsu has finally met up with Yuji, and he makes a very impressive entrance here when he just jumps down and just crushes the wall in front of them. And this is like becoming a recurring thing with Okotsu. He's just so strong that he just keeps destroying like the ground or just the environment around him. And everyone is scared when they see Okotsu. And I mean everyone, not just Yuji and Choso, but also Naoya. This is like a great introduction for like one of the overpowered characters in a series. Like it really has that sense of like severe intimidation coming out of this sequence. And as Okotsu's walking up, he's like, who's with Itadori? And Naoya's like, oh, wait a second, I'm on your side. He's like, you're Okotsu, right? And then that clicks with Yuji. He's like, oh, that's the second year that Fushiguro was talking about. Just like Gojo, he's a special great sorcerer. And Okotsu starts talking to Naoya and he's like, who are you? And Naoya's like, I'm Naoya Zenin. I'm Maki's cousin. I'm also here to kill Itadori. But don't worry, I won't interfere. But in return, even if you kill him, would you just wait a little bit before telling the superiors? He's bait for someone I want to meet. And then Okotsu's like, very well, I'll leave the other one to you. And while they were conversating, Choso is like talking to Yuji, and he says Blondie is a speed type, but there's a hidden trick to it. Going back to the previous chapter when we saw Naoya first in action, we saw that he was extremely fast, and we also know that like the Zenins are just really, Naobito was like ultra fast, and Naobito is his dad. So it wasn't surprising that Naoya would also be fast, but we also kind of thought that, you know, maybe there's also like some kind of curse technique to it. And what Choso is saying here, and also what he said in the previous chapter, is like further pushing that point, I guess. And then Choso's like, look, I'll take Naoya, but you just run away because Okotsu wants you and there's no way you can beat him and he'll straight up kill you if you fight him. So just run away. So then Choso like starts to do piercing blood, but then Naoya instantly like kicks his hands up. And we also see Okotsu like speeding towards Yuji. And it looks like Okotsu is just as fast as Naoya in this sequence. And then Yuji like sees Okotsu running behind him and he's like, he's fast. All that while holding a drawn katana. But then Okotsu's also surprised by Yuji's speed. And he's like, he's fast. I expected to take him out in my initial rush. But then we come back to Naoya and Choso, and Naoya has like completely, I guess, exposed Choso at this point, because we saw him like knock his hands away before he could do like the piercing blood. And first of all, he's confused as to why Choso has that curse technique, because clearly at this point Naoya is familiar with the Kamo clan and he's never seen Choso before and isn't aware that Choso is like a cursed womb. It has like the blood of Noritoshi Kamo from back in the day. So it's understandable why he doesn't know what's going on here. But then he's like, but other than piercing blood, it's not that frightening. In order to use piercing blood, you need convergence, which requires charging up. And then he's like, this is checkmate, so now you die. So this is super interesting. This is like the weakness to piercing blood. You know, him doing the convergence to activate it is kind of like a charging time. So there's like that one moment where you can capitalize on them. Like before when Yuji was fighting Choso, while he was talking with Mekamaru, it seemed like there was essentially no weakness to this technique. So that's why they had to like go to the bathroom and use the water to like coagulate it. But Naoya, you know, he knows better, and he knows that like, oh, I'll just capitalize on the charge time, and since he's so incredibly fast, it works into his favor, which goes back to him saying this is like genuinely a checkmate. But Choso's not backing down, and he's like, yeah, do you think you can leave here alive after trying to kill my little brother? But now we're coming back to Okotsu chasing Yuji, and they come across like these two flipped over cars, and Yuji's like dodging Okotsu, like slashing at him, and Okotsu was like, I'm sure I sliced him up. Oh, you're like Maki. So this is another instance of Yuji being compared to Maki, considering they're both like, you know, essentially the same archetype, like super strong. It hasn't been said that Yuji has like heavily restriction on him, but it's similar. Then Yuji like punches the car at Okotsu, and he uses this as like a distraction so that Yuji can like run away from him and like get inside of a random building. Before he can even get there, Okotsu sends the car in front of him, like blocking his way. And then Okotsu's like, surprised? I don't like the power type. And then Yuji's like, despite not having much power, he has an immense amount of cursed energy. And Okotsu says, I'm actually on the weak side. And then Yuji said he compensates for his lack of power with cursed energy reinforcement. Everyone does it, but when he does. And then Okotsu's like, you noticed, huh? I've got more cursed energy than Gojo. But then he says Gojo has the 6 eyes, so that energy that's lost when he activates a curse technique is infinitesimally close to 0. Of course, Gojo is the best. After all, I can run out of cursed energy energy, but he doesn't. So that's way more insight into the six eyes than I think we've ever had up until this point, right? And this just further reinforces that Gojo is like ridiculously OP. So that's why Gojo has been able to do like the ridiculous things that he's been able to do in the series, because he just basically doesn't lose cursed energy. Like by the time like he'll spend it, it's already come back with the six eyes technique. So that's why the six eyes and the limitless is just such an unbelievably broken combination. But it's also showing the differences in between Okotsu's OPness and Gojo's OPness. Because while Okotsu does have more cursed energy than Gojo, his still can run out because he doesn't have the six eyes that makes it infinitesimally close to zero of an expenditure. And this might be a subtle insight into how Okotsu can be defeated. You kind of have to make him gas out essentially on cursed energy. But then Okotsu keeps going after Yuji, and then we're getting more insight into like the elite fighter's cursed energy usage. Going back to what like Toto was talking about before, an elite fighter has greater accuracy in controlling cursed energy, making it difficult to predict an attack until the moment it's executed. So like an average fighter controlling cursed energy, you can kind of read that they're going to throw like a right punch. But when there's like an elite cursed energy user, there's no read or telegraph to it. Like you're not sure if it's coming until it's too late. But then they come to a standstill and Yuji's like, his whole body, including his katana, is constantly surging with cursed energy. The problem isn't about reading his moves, his every attack can be decisive and he can restrict all damage to a minimum. So yeah, that means that like, if you get hit by Okotsu just once, you're very likely to be done at that point. And even if you damage him, his cursed energy reinforcement just basically reduces it to zero. And then I guess Yuji is like remembering what Nanami said to him before he died when he's like, you got it from here. And then Yuji in the last panel of this chapter says, sorry, but I can't die just yet. And then that's the end. So like I said, this is a very exciting chapter. So cool to see Okotsu finally in action. And all of that hype that was built up in chapter 0 is really paying off here because, you know, we knew that he had such intense amount of cursed energy. When the brain is talking to Gojo a couple chapters back, he brings that up again. And this is kind of just like the beginning because we haven't even gotten to Okotsu's curse technique yet. And honestly, at this point, we don't have like all of the information behind it either yet. So I'm really looking forward to that getting explained more, or just us to see it more in action. I mean, Okotsu said that he's done talking, so maybe he doesn't outright say it himself, but you know, maybe we'll get a narration of it. But I'm so looking forward to more after this. These last couple chapters have just been so good, and this is probably the most excited I am for all of the series I'm covering on the channel right now. Let me know what you think about this in the comments. What do you think is going to happen in the next chapter? Let me know. And if you liked the video, guys, please give it a like and please subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.